From the Cleary Alumni Center on the campus of the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, it's the Mike Schmidt Football Show. Brought to you by Honda Motorworks, your electric and hybrid headquarters at 4th and Cass. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. By Schumacher Kish Cremation and Funeral Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. By 360 Real Estate Solutions, they've got the keys to your new home. And by Market & Johnson, Western Wisconsin's construction leader, adding value to everything they do. Now, here's the host of today's program, Terry Erickson.
Well, welcome to W La Crosse. We're in the Cleary and Friends Alumni Center for the weekly Mike Schmidt Football Show here on KQEG. The show is live on the stream and played back every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. We want to begin by acknowledging those sponsors that make the show possible. Schilling Supply, Honda Motorworks, Schumacher Kish Funeral Homes, 360 Real Estate Solutions, and Market & Johnson. We also want to acknowledge our guests that are here and invite you watching the show to join us each Monday at 12 noon here at the Cleary Center. And now, star of the show, Mike Schmidt.
Whoa, baby, here we go. We're back at it now, finally.
Fresh off a week of relaxing. Now, let's begin by...
It was?
Well, wait a minute. You reintroduced yourself to your wife.
Yep.
And your kids. Now, we've not talked about this, but let's spend a couple minutes talking about that reintroduction, spending some time with your family.
Yeah, it was nice to get back. You know, and I think we try to do a good job throughout the week to make sure that we're not in all night, all the time. You know, we're not working John Gruden hours or anything like that. I think we're pretty good about getting home, but certainly on the bye week, we got a long 7-week stretch. 7 weeks. I mean, when you look at it, that's a long time to get going, and so you want to make sure that you come out of it. Not only the team, but as coaches, you're fresh. You're ready to go, and you spend some time with the kids and do stuff at home. Good. So that was good.
Your week off. I know you sort of reestablished maybe your practices, your positions, you reevaluate everything. Did you discover anything about your team? Yeah,
a lot. There was a lot that we discovered about our team, and I think that it's been so important to make sure that we dug in on, you know, really establishing that relationship with our players. Really time to sit down and be with them a little bit more, to get to know what they're thinking, what's going on, what do they like, what do they want, because ultimately it's their program, and I say that to them all the time. It's your program. I get another team next year. If I leave here, I have another team. This opportunity is their team, and so you want them to take ownership of it, and in order to do that, they have to have a say in it. They have to be heard in what they're in what's happening in their program. And so we took a lot of time to kind of figure a lot of those things out, to kind of get with them a little bit more on some things, and then obviously to get ourselves cleaned up on the field with what we wanted to fix, some directions that we wanted to go, and the biggest part, though, I think about it, was trying to make sure that we were healed up and at 100% going into this week.
You know, the more I've gotten to know you and been around the team and around the locker room and around the practices, relationship building is the biggest strength I think that you bring to the program.
I appreciate that.
I noticed that when Noah Risch came back, I happened to be in your office, and he came back Labor Day weekend for your opening game. And the emotions, the appreciation, it sent a powerful message.
Yeah, I think that's been really cool to see. A lot of those guys from last year have been back already. You know, Nick Holcomb's been back to games, and some of those other guys have been around already. Steve Law was at one of our games. So it's just cool to see all of those guys being back. And then, you know, of course, we have a lot of them on the staff from last year. That just shows you what our program really is all about, that this truly is a lifelong commitment. I think it's really cool, and I think the players appreciate that. You know, I'm certainly still young enough that when those guys leave, it's not a fatherly relationship at all. It's a friend, it's a mentor, it's that kind of a relationship more than it is a father son. You know, maybe in the old days or with older coaches that you can feel that way. So I think that's really cool. I think the guys really appreciate getting a chance to come back and go grab wings, go grab a beer, hang out a little bit, and talk about life in a real sense, I think.
Well, and that speaks volumes to all of our viewers about the culture here and why it's so special. And that's just a good segue into recruiting. When you talk about your biggest asset in recruiting are former players.
Yeah.
If there's toxic relationships and if it's not a good experience, they're not going to encourage people to go to UWL. So when you are looking at recruiting, that's one component. Let's just talk about recruiting for about 2 minutes.
Yep.
What do you look for?
Yeah, I mean, when let's talk about that first part about the players. That's been our biggest weapon in recruiting. We have this incredible city, we have this incredible university, and so that gets that gets the interest. And it's like if we can get them on campus. It's been hard for teams to beat us. I mean, we're hitting over 70%. If players visit our campus, we're hitting over 70% of those guys commit and come to UWL. That's unbelievable. I mean, the ratio that we have on those guys is really cool because they obviously have to be dedicated, serious students to be able to get in, and they obviously we're recruiting them because they're really good football players. But then when they feel what's happening here, you know, that's probably the most important part because we get them around our players. And I can say all I want about what the program's like. I can say all that I want about what's going to happen with our program, but then the players get to back it up. And if you have a mismatch, then that's not going to be a great deal for recruiting. But you know, I think we've spent a lot of time this week on it. I went out to high school games. All our coaches went out to high school games Friday night to watch, especially a lot of the local talent, which there's a ton of it here this year. It's really exciting to see all those players. So it's finding the right guys, and then you got to start figuring out, number one, can they get into school? Are they the right fit? And then let's go get at them.
Well, the NC2A has come out in recent months about more of an expectation for guys like you, Coach, and at Division 3, 2, 1 about monitoring grades, monitoring free time, monitoring nutrition. Not necessarily overly monitor, but being involved in the athlete's life. Yeah,
we take a pretty hands-off approach actually here. You know, we're certainly up to date. We certainly know what's going on in our guys' lives and in the classroom and those kind of things. But we have really, really smart kids. We have really good students, really good kids from good places. In many cases, they're rule followers. And so what we've kind of found here, which is tricky, is that we feel like the more constraints, the more rules, the more things that we put on them, it suffocates them a little bit. It actually is a detriment to their free time. They know how to structure it. We're trying to recruit really good players. We're trying to help them find a purpose, find a bigger reason for what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. So that would be holistic, right? I mean, that would be your nutrition and your school and friends and socially. And I think that's what's cool about us here is that we really try to get them. I mean, everybody's going to talk about your family and social life or your family and school and those kind of things in recruiting. I'm so big on having a social life. Why come to UWL if you're not going to enjoy the city? Why come here if you're not going to go downtown or go out to Alaska or whatever it's going to be? Don't come here. Like if you're not going to use all these unbelievable things that we have, then you shouldn't use it. So we want to make sure that those guys have the time to do that and understand, you know, what's going on. But I mean, if they're committed to the higher purpose of what's happening within our football program, we generally don't have to worry about a lot of things.
Before we close the first segment, real quickly, there was a great article. Colton, who's here today, shared some information that I knew, but the broad public didn't know about the high-tech approach to your practices. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, awesome article by Colton in the Lacrosse Tribune. That was great. We have this awesome exercise sports science department here. We need to use it. And so with Dr. Wright and then obviously Coach Lukey, we couldn't function the way we do. We wouldn't have the success that we have without those guys. Those guys are as important as any coach or any other support member that's within our program with what we're doing, monitoring practice, making sure our players stay healthy, making sure that they're getting the proper conditioning or the proper rest and recovery. So I think the way that we're monitoring it, we're using that data, and we've structured it and put it into a big time weapon for us.
Wow, sophisticated. Let's get Dr. Wright and maybe an assistant on a show to educate people exactly how you are monitoring your athletes.
It's gonna go way over all of our heads there with what he's gonna talk about.
Okay. Well, we're gonna step aside just a minute. When we come back, a couple players will join us here on the Mike Schmidt Show. We'll be right back. I hope a couple players.
Where are they?
Stunning from any angle, The HR-V is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motor Works.
Stunning from
360 Real Estate Solutions has the keys to your new home. Introducing the Hub on 6th, rooftop lofted condos for sale. Beautifully designed with open floor plans up to 3 bedrooms. The Hub has what you need for city life, from studios to 3 bedrooms to fit your lifestyle and your pocketbook with the extra touches that matter. A rooftop sports court, bike storage with a washing center, community rooms, storage units, laundry, a pet walk, and a workout room. Get your tour today at hubon6.360.bz. Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motor Works.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motor Works.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate. The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Show. Well, we're joined by two key parts to the UWL Eagle football program, Oliver Vazanoia and Connor Weirs. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Especially Oliver, who sprints across campus to get here. No, don't make him condition today.
Yeah, we didn't have his heart monitor strapped up, so we don't know what his mechanical load and intensity is going to be for the day. But we'll have to try to figure it out and add it in for our total count, so we don't get you hurt, big boy.
Plus, he needs a reward for this. So when you get together after practice and you got all those chants going, have a chant for Oliver from Finland.
We'll make sure that he gets well taken care of. Any other benefits would be impermissible, Terry, as we all know very well.
Well, why in the heck do we have these two guys here?
Yeah.
Well, I know why, but maybe our viewers don't.
Yeah, pretty important parts of our team here for sure. Obviously, Oliver being a huge leadership component and obviously a great player as well on our offensive line. Totally rallies our team there and is the voice of our offensive line for sure. One of the hardest working guys we have without question. One of the most committed and dedicated guys without question to UWL football. Really, I don't know what we'd do without him for sure. And then Connor, you talk about the most unsung guy on our team is Connor Weirs, unfortunately. And I don't know that's not within our team, but that certainly is going to be outside of our team. Connor's been our long snapper for the last 3 years since we've been here. We've never had a bad snap. We've never had anything go wrong in those 3 years with Connor here. He's been the most reliable piece of our team. And that was part, we're lining up for the field goal against Illinois Wesleyan, and it's Connor Weirs and it's Evan Lewandowski and Ryan Byrne kicking it through, and Ryan Byrne gets a lot of the love, but we've never had. He's a tremendous timed long snapper and such a key important part of that entire operation. I don't know what we do without Connor here either. He's been so reliable and so good for us.
And you know what's good about that? You're the special teams coordinator. He makes you look good.
That's right. Oh, that's really good. I don't think that I take that for granted. I know it.
But in the old days, when I used to watch games on a black and white TV, the long snappers were just guys they'd pull off like a reserve tight end or something like that. I don't know if you know this, but now the long snappers are specialty players that make like over $500,000 a year just being long snappers. So that's where you're going to go?
I'm a pretty small guy, actually. I'm like 190 pounds or so. I don't know how well I would go up against those huge, like 6'3", 250-pound linebackers in the NFL. But
not well. I'll give you that answer. Not well, Connor.
But
we love you, but not well.
The nice thing about playing in the NC2A is until 1 second goes by after you snap the ball, they can't touch you.
Yeah. So I get a little nice head start there, being able to get my head up and see where everybody's going before somebody can just blindly fly and hit me. So definitely thankful for that.
Yeah, speaking of a head start, you started in Amory, Wisconsin. Yeah. Talk about growing up there, who inspired you, high school days and leading up to UWL.
Yeah, so Amory, Wisconsin's a town in northwestern Wisconsin, about like an hour in from Minneapolis in Minnesota, right into the Wisconsin side. It's like 3,000 people. There's about 4 lakes just in the middle of the city, like definitely just like your normal rural community. And I grew up there, just me, and I actually have a twin brother who goes to Madison, and I actually have a lot of inspiration from him. He's like one of the smartest people I know, so I was always striving to keep up with him through high school. He played different sports and stuff as me, so luckily we didn't have to like be too competitive there, but still just in our own like individual, always trying to get different inspiration from him.
But when you were young, though, did you actually think you had a gift? Did you actually have plans to someday be a collegiate player?
After my senior year in high school, I was between lacrosse and Madison of where I wanted to go, and I wasn't sure like if I really wanted to keep playing sports. I wasn't the best, like normal position player in football, but my head coach at the time said that I'd probably be able to long snap if I wanted to keep going, especially like at the Division III level. But I just didn't really know if I wanted to do that, so I ended up going to Madison. And then I was coming to lacrosse my sophomore year no matter what, so I decided to email Coach McGlenn, and he got back to me like right away, and he's like, we'd love to have you come to fall camp. So I was like, I've been here since, so I'm glad that I ended up making that choice instead of just going for school only.
Well, in case you're wondering, we're glad too.
Yeah, no kidding.
But coming all the way from Finland for the Mike Schmidt football show. Oh, by the way, he's got classes and practice and games too. But oh my gosh, it's a pleasure to have somebody from Finland over here playing for UWL. Talk about growing up in Finland.
Well, Finland's really similar to Wisconsin and Minnesota. I'd say the climate's fairly similar. We have cold winters and it doesn't get as hot in the summer. But I think really what brought me here to UWL in the United States, you know, making such a big jump is really the family I came from. I come from a football family where my dad's a coach. He played when I was younger, so I got to see him play football, and my brother also played here. So we grew up, you know, just constantly competing, and I think really that's what's eventually brought me here to lacrosse.
But club sports in Finland, or not high school related?
Okay, so we don't have school sports in Finland. So sports is separate from academics, which makes all sports are club sports. So I played hockey and soccer and wrestled, and eventually found the football is my thing. So.
And I heard before we went on the air, your mom was recently here to watch you?
Yep, my mom was here for 10 days. She left Saturday, and she just got back after a 24-hour trip.
Oh my gosh.
So.
Well, you talked about school. Let's explore a little bit. Major, where will we see you, Oliver, in 5 or 10 years?
Well, I'm a business management major here at UWL, something I didn't know I wanted to major in until I was 21 and started college. But I think in 5 or 10 years, I'd like to work in sales, and so I can work with people and have the business aspect to it.
And we should have mentioned, too, that you're an integral part of the offensive line. And we've talked about the improvements under Coach McGlenn in the offensive line. You are a key component to the run game and the passing game. Talk about that.
Well, I mean, really it comes down to us 5 on the offensive line working as a unit. And working with Coach McGlenn last couple of years have been really fun, and it's taught me more about attention to detail, and that's how I think I've improved my run blocking and pass blocking.
Well, and Coach had some great comments about you. School, you have an interesting story too about before you came here, and you know, in your career and your curriculum.
Yeah, so when I went to Madison, I was deciding I ended up actually transferring lacrosse because they have a really good department of physical therapy program after. So that was one of the first reasons I wanted to come here and do that. But I actually changed, and since then I switched over to biomed instead, and I hope to be able to go to chiropractic school after lacrosse.
Good. And you'll both be successful. You can stay in this country or back to Finland.
Oh, we'll see. We'll take that when we get there.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you, both of you. I mean, I see you in practice and so on. Again, Oliver Vazanoia and Connor Weirs, thanks for being on the show, guys, and good luck the rest of the season. We'll be at each and every game.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We'll be back, and we'll take a quick look at Whitewater after this.
The all-new Honda Fit gives you the flexibility of the magic seat with the fuel efficiency you celebrate at the pump. From Honda Motorworks.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motorworks.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single-source provider of business solutions and supplies. Their 65,000 square foot facility stocks over 3,000 items ranging from packaging, janitorial, industrial, food processing, safety, and specialty products. Schilling Supply provides the essentials you need to meet your customers' and employees' expectations. Businesses like Gunderson, Quick Trip, Dynamic Recycling, and Badger Corrugating rely on Schilling Supply to deliver the right products at the right time. Schilling Supply Company. Visit on the web or call.
Stunning from any angle, the HR-V is a crossover of style and versatility.
You'll love more miles per dollar. Honda Motor Works.
Since 1897, Schilling Supply Company has been your single source provider of business solutions and supply.
Welcome back to the Mike Schmidt Football Show here at UWL. Well, big week, Whitewater week. Last year, I looked a little bit. Last year, lost 21-14. Tied at half, and you ran 94 plays. They ran 62. Holcomb, 11 catches. Of course, every game he was your star power. And but you had trouble running the ball. But it was a game a year ago that you absolutely could have won.
Yeah, we could have. You know, they got out and had a 14-point lead on us in the second half, and it was tough to come back from that. But I mean, we had the ball in our hands the last possession of the game with an opportunity to drive and potentially tie the game. But it didn't work out that way. You know, we played in that driving rain and that game, and really a great. Just a great football weather game there. So, yeah, cool. We've been close the last couple of years, but close isn't good enough against those guys. It's just not the way it works. So, yeah, there's a big step up that this program has to have to get to the next level. It has to have it, and those guys are the guys that would have the crosshairs on them.
Well, 4 o'clock start for our viewers, too. So please put that on your calendar after the Oktoberfest parade. 4 o'clock, big game. Hope to pack the place for that game. We'll be broadcasting it, of course, on KQEG. When you've had 2 weeks now, and of course you're in your second week to prepare for them. Tell our viewers exactly what to expect.
Yeah, you don't want to create a monster that isn't there. You know, you don't want to create something that's not necessarily always going to be there. So a lot of times, you know, we didn't want to jump in on Whitewater last week. You know, they didn't have a game. We didn't have a game. We had a lot of stuff to fix on our end, a lot of things that we need to work on our end in order to put ourselves in the best position to win the football game on Saturday. So we you know, I think as coaches, we certainly moved on and we're prepared for it and getting ready for this week. But no, I mean, it was all about our players and getting ourselves in the right position, you know, because ultimately, you know, if we play our best game, we're going to have a shot to win any game that we play at any point in time this season. And this week's no different. If we play our best game and we do the stuff that we think that our players are capable of, that we're coaching them to do, that our scheme and our coaches are prepared to do, we'll have a shot to win the football game. If we don't do those things, we won't have a shot to win the football game. So, you know, those things trumped and were just so much more important than, you know, necessarily moving on to Whitewater. And again, you don't want to create a monster that's just not really there and get yourself ready to play a week ahead of time. Let's work on ourselves, the things that we needed to do, and then put us in position to win the game on
I think
Saturday.
the most profound thing you said was that you can play with any team, and I don't know if our viewers can appreciate, understand, digest that, but I do.
Yep.
At watching you play, watching you practice, there's no question about it. Whitewater 3-0. They're outscored their opponents 131-12. They're averaging 45 points a game, 653 yards on the ground, and 704 yards passing, and they're averaging 440 yards per game. Their personnel, gosh, I looked at their offensive line. They're about 300 pounds.
They're huge
Across their offensive
They're just
line.
massive.
It's like, whoa, bulldozers.
Yeah, they're massive. I don't know that they're bulldozers. They're just in the way. There's so much person that's in the way. They're huge people up there. Certainly, they have pretty much all of their skill. They lose a couple, a tight end and a really good wide receiver, but the rest of their skills back and really, really good. They're really good. They're a really good football team. They're as advertised. Everybody knows they're good. They should be good, shouldn't they? That place should be good in football every year. If they aren't, then that's on them. That's their deal and whatever. But they should be good in football, and they are. They're really good. They have a lot of really good players across the board. I think their defense is probably as good as I've seen around ever in Division III, to be honest with you. They're that kind of talented. They're all back from last year. They didn't hardly lose anybody from that side of the ball, and they didn't hardly lose anybody from the offense side. Same guys, familiar faces, familiar characters. They're really good. They're really talented. And that being said, in no way will our team flinch. In no way will our team back down. We don't care who they are or where they come from. We're going to be ready for the game and ready for what's about to happen.
Well, you said they should be good, and you're right, because I don't know how many people know this, but their resources are deeper than I've ever seen for Division III.
They came and took one of our coaches last year. Right. Came and took our offensive coordinator last year, and that's part of the deal there with that they have that ability to do stuff like that. They have double our resources, double our coaches. It's part of the deal. Nobody feels sorry for us. Let me tell you that. Not one person feels sorry for us, including me. Don't care what we have. That's what we brought here. We're going to do. That's what our way is all about. I don't care what their way is. I don't care what anybody else's way is. We're going to win the lacrosse way, our new way, this way of that we've brought in with our coaching staff, and we feel like our way is better than any other way right now. So we're pretty excited and pretty confident in that.
I feel the same way, and I think you are making huge strides. And if those people that maybe didn't see the program years ago, they would maybe don't appreciate it, but I guarantee you the strides are there.
Yep.
Well, I looked at their offensive personnel, and I was like, Ryan Wisniewski from Sparta, 8 catches. They have
really good
Mitchell Dees, J.T. Parrish, and their quarterback, Cole Wilbur.
Wilbur's a really good player.
Impressive statistics on offense. You talked about their defense, but their offense looks pretty polished too.
Yeah, they're coming off a game where they scored a ton of points. They played a club football team in their last outing, and so they have really good statistics, and that doesn't take away from how good they are. They are really good. Wilbur is really good. He's a 3-year starter now. He is a tremendous football player. All of them are. Their whole team. There's not one bad football player that they have. They're really good. And they've all been playing for a long time. And Wisniewski's a really good player who's new to the scene for them this year. He's a stud. And it's going to be fun. Can't wait to take them on. Can't wait to get our guy. We got some studs too. Well, so that's going to be awesome.
We have great personnel and quality people too. Around the Y-Ax, St. Thomas, oh my gosh, St. Thomas. Up watching them, they're a machine. Over Eau Claire, 49-0. Stout over Cal Lutheran and Platteville over Lakeland.
Yeah, look good. I don't think any surprises in that grouping there. Really a good showing by Stout, who we got coming up in 2 weeks. They look good. Had a really good day offensively this past weekend. So, it's the league's good, and it's conference championship season right now. Here we go.
Yeah, well, and around campus, by the way, women's soccer 4-2-1. They're home on Wednesday. Women's volleyball, good program too, 9-6.
Doing
women's
awesome.
Tennis 5-1. Both conference cross-country teams, men's and women, top 10 in the country, like every year. Golf, first season since 1983. A friend of mine coaching that team, and they are doing well. Well, again, we want to thank our sponsors for making the show possible. We will be here each week talking Eagle football with Coach Mike Schmidt, replayed every Tuesday at 6:30. Next show, Monday, October 1st, we'll talk about Whitewater and get ready for stout. Till next week, for Mike Schmidt, I'm your host, Terry Erickson, thanking you for joining us here on the Mike Schmidt Football Show. Thank you.
You've been watching the Mike Schmidt Football Show on KQEG TV. The Mike Schmidt Football Show is brought to you by Honda Motorworks, your electric and hybrid headquarters at 4th and Cass. By Schilling Supply, serving businesses with critical supplies since 1897. By Schumacher Kish Cremation and Funeral Services in La Crosse, La Crescent, and Onalaska. By 360 Real Estate Solutions, they've got the keys to your new home. And by Market & Johnson, Western Wisconsin's construction leader, adding value to everything they do. Join us next week at this same time for the Mike Schmidt Football Show. You've been watching the Mike Schmidt Football Show on KQEG TV. The Mike Schmidt Football Show is brought to you by